Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to discuss the filming locations that were used in the second half of the Magnum pilot. So if you haven't seen part one of this video yet, go ahead and pause this, go back and watch part one so that this video makes complete sense to you. So without further delay, let's get into Don't Eat the Snow in Hawaii, part two. So this episode starts out at Rick's Cafe. Now I've done a bit of research on this location, and I believe it to be a club that was located in downtown Honolulu called Marrakesh. Now unfortunately, there's next to nothing on the internet about this club. So for the time being, I'm going to keep this location as unidentified until I can confirm that it was in fact the Marrakesh and confirm where it was located. Now in this scene, Tom has requested a meeting through Rick with Snow White in an attempt to determine where the drugs that killed Lieutenant Cook came from. So Rick's out there with Snow White requesting that they come back into the back room and meet Tom. And you can see this room, it has a very ornate Moroccan design to it. So again, Marrakesh, if anyone remembers this club, has photos of this club and can confirm its location, yeah, please comment below. I'd love to know exactly where it was located. Now through Tom's meeting with Snow White, he learns of an individual named La Boule who is likely Lieutenant Cook's killer. She says that La Boule is in a boat or a ship somewhere in the vicinity of the island of Ko'olave. So in this scene, TC and Tom are flying out to that island to try and find this boat or this ship. Now, as they make their way out there, both Tom and TC have a flashback to Vietnam, which leads us to our Vietnam filming location, which was here. The Vietnam scenes were filmed in the Ahapua Okana State Park, and looks like a great location to do so. Looks like they've got plenty of parking down here for the film and production crews. And then you've got a big, nice, wide open valley for all of the aerial photography. And I would imagine that all of the scenes from part one were probably filmed in here somewhere, if I had to guess. And then as we get into the scenes from part two here, in this shot, I believe this helicopter is somewhere in here. And we see the teams engaged in a firefight, and they call for TC to come and pull them out. And he lets them know that there's a location near a river where he can pick them up. And they all start to make their way towards that location. And this shot here, I am guessing that it's probably maybe here or here. Make their way towards the river. Unfortunately, they lost Pepe along the way. Now this river that Tom and Dan are slipping down into is right here. And I'm going to go back. This whole valley is very overgrown today. I'm going to go back to 2004 to kind of match up closer to what it looked like in 1980. So yeah, Tom and Dan are entering the river right there, approximately there. And Philippe's giving cover fire, and in the back here, I'm going to match up this little valley. So again, they're here somewhere, and this valley is right here. And we can see TC and Rick on their approach to the pickup point here. And off in the distance, partially obscured by the clouds, is this mountain here. And then you've got this one, which is here. And then just a little sliver of that one right there. As they move in a bit closer, you can see this dark brown rocky area on this closest hill, and that's right there. And then as they get up to the pickup zone in this shot, the helicopter is probably about right there. And again, you've got the furthest mountain range there, which is back here, and then the second one here, which is there, and then you've got this closest to them mountain here, and this little brown spot's blocked by that leaf there. You can also see another, you can kind of make it out, another dark brown spot there, which you can see kind of right there. And then we get another angle, which gives you a view of kind of this. Try and line this up. So yeah, we've got just the side of our little dark brown rocky patch here. And then we got a good view of this mountain here. And unfortunately, Philippe is hit and tells him to go on. Without him, he's not going to make it. And they have to pull out. We come out of our Vietnam flashback scene to this shot as Tom and TC approach Ko'olave, aka Rabbit Island. And we'll go ahead and match this up. Luckily, somebody put a drone up for us to line this up, kind of line it up. Could be a little lower. And then we're towards the back side of the island here. Line this up. Pretty close. Helicopter's right along here to our next frame. attempt to line this up. Something like that. You got the mountain range back here. Just a little sliver of Rabbit Island there. And the ship in question is somewhere out here. They decide they want to take a second look at that ship. And I'll try and line this up for you. So in this shot, helicopter's coming up over the island, right along here. Up over the top to kind of catch the boat off guard. However, TC, he's afraid that they're going to throw rocks, and Magnum says, where are they going to get rocks? And of course, yeah, TC was correct. They're throwing rocks. Next, we see Tom, Higgins, and Alice in a dark room developing the rest of the photos that Tom took. My guess is that this is a set that they built at the Hawaii Film Studio, or this is in fact an actual dark room that they have at the studio. I'm not sure. If you know, please comment below. Now we arrive at what I feel is the biggest mystery of this pilot episode. Now, it's widely believed that the interior shots for Robin's Nest were filmed at the Marks Estate or Clarence H. Cook House. They are one and the same. However, I do not think that's the case at all. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I don't think I am. Now, I've studied every picture available of the Marks Estate, and in my opinion, nothing matches up. The architecture is completely different, and I would love to solve this mystery. I want to know what this property is. This property, I have nicknamed it the greenhouse for obvious reasons. Now, in this scene, Higgins is answering the red phone, thinking he's gonna find Robin Masters on the other line. However, it's TC calling in to try and get a hold of Magnum. Now, this shot of TC's office, I would imagine, is just a set inside the stage at the Hawaii Film Studio, or possibly in a stage back at Universal. So if you know, please comment below. And we're back to the greenhouse. Tom's finishing up his phone call with TC, and they all head towards the kitchen so that Higgins can feed the lads. And here's a shot from part 1 of this same kitchen. Again, nothing matches up with the Marks Estate or Clarence H. Cook House. So, again, if you were involved in the production, if you have production notes, if you know what property this is, please comment below. I would love to solve this mystery. Okay, we are back in the world of identified locations. Hallelujah. Got this establishing shot of the Anderson estate, which leads to the guest house, which was inside the stage at the Hawaii Film Studio. Tom and Alice are preparing to sneak into Ensign Healy's office at Pearl to try and steal Dan's case file, Got a shot of them here in the guest house bedroom. And then they move out into the main living area of the guest house. And then we are back at the Anderson estate, where we see our old friend, the hitman, again. He has hopped the fence and he is spying. We get this shot of Tom and Alice. It looks like they're actually inside of the Anderson estate main house. And that's something that apparently was allowed, was these types of shots. No cameras inside the property, but the actors could go inside of the main house for these types of shots. And we have another one right here. This one, you get quite a bit in Magnum. The kind of balcony, this balcony was about right there. And we see that the lads have caught wind of Mr. Hitman. And it looks like they're approximately here, headed for the main wall here, the front wall. And Mr. Hitman decides he'd better get out of there. And he hops the fence. And in this shot, he is about right there. His car is parked here. Next, we see Higgins entering the Ferrari so that he can go down to Rick's club and show them the photos of LeBoule to see if they recognize the individual. Now in this scene, the Ferrari was about right in there. And yeah, what a great shot of the main entrance into the Anderson estate. Higgins has exited the property here, and he's about right there in this shot. The hitman has backed into the main entrance to turn around and head that way. Let's drop down and see if we can match this up. Yep, there's the main entrance, and the car in this frame is exactly where this person is standing that took this photo. And the hitman's going to come out of the drive and head that way. I noticed in this shot there's a big power cord that's going across the road, I'm guessing to light the street here. Next, we see Alice and Tom getting into Dan's MG so they can start heading to Pearl. In this shot, this frame, the MG is probably about right there. And then they make their way around the courtyard and start heading off of the property. And we can see that they've arrived back at Pearl Harbor again, which we have established. It was actually Universal Studios, the back lot of Universal Studios, somewhere on the back lot. And if you look, you can read all the signage a little better at night. We got Pearl Harbor Gate number 4, U.S. Navy Base, Honolulu. Pearl Harbor, U.S. Navy Base, Honolulu. Not sure what all that says, other than stop. And they proceed through the gate realize that Ski is back at the shack. Tom has to kick on the windshield wipers and the spray and cover his face a bit so the Ski doesn't notice him. And they arrive at this location. Naval Investigative Agency, Captain Jay Cooley, commanding officer. And Tom enters this building. Again, would love to know where this building is, or was, if it still exists. Kind of the bad thing about Universal is I think they've had a few fires over the years, and I know a lot of this stuff, a lot of the backlot that was there in 1980 has burned down. So it could be that this this building no longer even exists. Magnum enters the lobby and approaches Seaman Wolf, who's focused on reading a Robin Masters novel. Now, before I go any further, Judge Reinhold recently was on the Rich Eisen show, and he tells a hilarious story about filming this scene. And I'll try to put a link to that video in the notes of this video. But if for some reason it's not there, just search Rich Eisen, Judge Reinhold, Magnum PI. And I think the title of the video is Celebrity True or False. But yeah, absolutely hilarious. And then Magnum approaches Seaman Wolf and cracks me up when he tells him to stop reading cheap Robin Masters novels. And Magnum heads up the elevator, breaks into Ensign Healy's office, and he starts searching for Lieutenant Cook's case file. Now, while Alice waits for Tom, Ensign Healy arrives and approaches her to find out why she's there. They both enter the building. In this shot, I noticed a few things. We got a entrance number 2 here. Not sure if that's a clue. And then I noticed a couple of the windows are boarded up. Not really sure what that's about. They enter the lobby. Ensign Healy gives Seaman Wolf a bucket of chicken. And they go to the elevator to head up to his office. Another good look at this lobby area. As they're going up the elevator, Magnum is just leaving. He sees the lights on the elevator illuminate and realizes he's got to get out of there. He picks the lock and hides in Captain Cooley's office just in the nick of time. And one thing I noticed about all of the elevators, which makes me certain that this is just a set. Well, almost certain that this is a set. Watch the elevator doors. They are flawless. They open up right on cue and they instantly close right on cue, unlike any real elevator door that I've ever seen in my life. Pay attention to it next time you watch this. Magnum turns around and he realizes that Captain Cooley is no longer with us. And walks over to the window there. And I believe that all the rain and the lightning, it's just Hollywood rain and lightning. I'm guessing it was an effort to mask or disguise the fact that they were shooting in California and not on Oahu. Just a theory. With that being said, and all of this was shot in California, that means that Fritz Weaver was actually never even on Oahu. All of his scenes would have been shot on the back lot of Universal Studios, which also supports my theory that the autopsy scene was also shot on the back lot of Universal. And Clyde Kuzatsu also was not actually on Oahu. And this scene from part one, when Magnum tries to call Lieutenant Cook initially, and he gets instant Healy, I suspect that this is also just on the back lot of Universal Studios. All right, back to this episode. Magnum, he has the files, and Alice distracts Ensign Healy, and Magnum slips out of the building and hides in the MG. Ensign Healy and Alice go back down to the lobby, out of the elevator, and we get another shot of Seaman Wolf eating his bucket of chicken. Again, I cannot stress to you enough to watch the Rich Eisen video. Just classic story. They exit the building, and Alice runs to the MG. We get a bit of a shot of the side of that building. Not sure if that's enough to ID it, but you never know. And then they depart that building, and we get another shot, a better shot of the other side of the building. Yeah, I would love to know if it still exists. It may not. It may have burnt down. Where this was on the back lot. One other thing I picked up on. So MG, it's got a passenger side mirror here. And then as they round the corner, passenger side mirror has been removed. Maybe it was just to so it's not obscuring Tom's shot. They pull over on this road, and Tom informs Alice that Captain Cooley is dead. Again, if you recognized any of this, any of these shots from the back lot, and you know where it's located, please comment below. Next scene is back at Rick's club. Again, Marrakesh. If anyone can provide any insight into this club, where it was located, please comment below. We see that Mr. Hitman has followed Higgins from the estate to the club and is waiting out in the main lobby area. Higgins, TC, and Rick are in that back room. Get a better look at this back room. But they're back there looking at the photos of Laboul. Higgins exits the back room. You see Hitman watching him intently and follows him as he leaves the club. While that's occurring, Rick spots the hitman, and of course knows he's an underworld hitman. And they grab their guns and they head out the door to try and save Higgins, figure out where they went. We get an exterior shot of the club, Marrakesh Club. I would imagine somebody has to recognize this. Our next scene takes us to Hotel Street, a street that appeared on Magnum, dozens and dozens of times throughout the series. Get a shot of Higgins walking across the street here, and I don't believe that uh, this Marrakesh club, if it is in fact called the Marrakesh. I don't believe that this was anywhere near Hotel Street. I think this was in a much nicer part of Honolulu. Uh, it appears to be a much nicer establishment than anything that was on Hotel Street in 1980. But yeah, back to the Hotel Street scene. Higgins is crossing the road. Let me drop down and try and show you where this was on Hotel Street. All right, so get my bearings here. So this Esquire Theater sign, I believe, is in the exact or general vicinity of this sign right here. And if you look on the wall here, some of these slats, a few still remain here. Along here, here, and here. These have been painted black, and something else has been put up here covering the slats. The dark part would have been here. So Higgins crosses the road here, and we see in the background Mr. Hitman is making his way towards Higgins. And we see a fire hydrant here, and there's a fire hydrant right there. And they make their way around this corner here to this location. Now, let me go back up and show you where this was filmed. Let's see here. Okay, so the Ferrari would have been parked right here, right where these arrows are located. And you can see this ventilation grate here, and there used to be a door right there. You can still see where they deleted the door and filled it in there. And then you can see this door still exists here. Got more ventilation, I'm assuming ventilation grates up here. And then this door here. And then the hitman's car is parked directly behind the Ferrari. So the hitman's car would have been right there. Hitman approaches Higgins at gunpoint, asks him why he's in Magnum's Ferrari, which Higgins takes offense to, and reaches back so he can unlatch the door and set off the alarm, the car alarm. While he's doing so, Rick is running down Hotel Street, down the sidewalk. Let's go back over there. Actually, let's go here. Try and line this up. Not the greatest. A little fuzzy. So Rick is sprinting this way, and Tom and Alice are driving down right here in the MG. Magnum gets out, approaches Rick to find out what's happening. And during that time, the Ferrari's car alarm activates. Higgins gives the hitman one of his patented commando chops. And Magnum and Rick round this corner as Higgins escapes the hitman. And Magnum and Higgins dive behind this blue car here. And Rick unloads on the hitman with an Uzi and drops him. Now, this location took me a minute to find. Well, more than a minute. I searched and searched all over around Hotel Street. Nothing matched up. Then I started to realize, it looks different. It's better lit and just looks different than anything down around Hotel Street. And then I noticed it. I noticed the clue here. The Ferrari has a passenger side view mirror, which means that this was also shot on the back lot of Universal Studios. And I have to believe, if this hasn't burnt to the ground, that somebody will recognize this and they'll know where this is at. And then we are back to Hotel Street. Over here. Let's drop down here, see what this looks like. All right, we'll go with this. So yeah, this muscle car, Hitman's muscle car, would have been right there, and he would have been lying right there. TC, Higgins, and Rick approach where he's laying. TC takes the Uzi from Rick and asks him where he got that. Well, he says, "Where'd you get this, Orville? Where did you get an Uzi, Orville?" And that's the first time that Higgins hears the name Orville. And Higgins is a bit confused as to why TC is calling Rick Orville. Our next scene is back at Robin's Nest. Magnum can be seen swimming towards this structure. And from what I understand, way back in the day, they used to raise turtles in this tidal pool. And this little concrete structure was a place for them to shelter and escape predators. And it's still there to this day. I've sat on it myself. And that's exactly what Magnum does. He goes up and sits on it, and he's trying to figure out who or where LeBoule may be. And in this very shot, he realizes who it is. And he starts sprinting towards the guest house. Now here's a photo I took back in, I think this was 2019, 18 or 19. So to get this shot right here, the cameraman would have been standing right exactly there, shooting down on on that location. And this was not long after the main house had been demolished, and I did not have high hopes that the guest house would be saved. But yeah, as I stated in the previous video, it has been saved. Looks great. We see Tom runs into the guest house. AKA the 5-0 soundstage. Goes straight to the closet here and immediately pulls out his 1911. And this is where we also got one of those iconic scenes that aired in the opening credits in every episode of Magnum. And he gets cleaned up and goes straight to the airport here, and he's searching the lobby for LeBoule. And if we drop down to Street View here, this might actually be the terminal lobby where this was filmed. So if you look off in the distance here, you've got the flight screens here, and you've got these this wood plank siding here. Looks like this was the United ticket counter. However, I don't see United anywhere through here. Doesn't mean that's not where it was back in 1980. But yeah, might this actually be the lobby where this was shot? Who knows? So if it was, the restroom that they go into would have been over here somewhere. But again, a big if. So Magnum, he continues down the lobby, searching for LeBoule. And the flight attendants, it looks like they're headed back to work. They spot Magnum and call out to him. However, LeBoule, a.k.a. Philippe, hears them call out to him, and he realizes he has a problem and starts heading towards this restroom that would have been over here somewhere, if in fact this is the lobby. Magnum spots him and follows him towards the restroom. I don't believe that this was actually a restroom right here. I think this is just some signage that the film crew slapped up on the door. I do believe that the restroom that they entered into is an actual restroom that was located at the Honolulu International Airport. Probably a restroom that they found located somewhere in the airport that's less trafficked by passengers. Philippe asks Magnum why they left him. Well, because you told him to. And then grabs his pistol and tries to shoot Magnum. And actually does hit him. However, he's not mortally wounded and is able to shoot back and mortally wounds LeBoule, who falls to the floor. Again, this is definitely, an actual restroom at the airport. And LeBoule falls and dies. Magnum sits next to him and removes his team ring. Next scene is back at Robin's Nest. We see Magnum sitting out in the courtyard. About right there, recovering from his wound. And we see Higgins comes out on his lanai and sees Magnum down here resting and decides he can't have that. And so he sicks the lads on him. And that will conclude this video. Hope you enjoyed watching it as much as I enjoyed making it. The next episode that I'll cover in this series will be China Doll, which is technically the first real episode of Magnum once this pilot episode sold to the network. So thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.